Good evening. Hey, everybody. Boom, boom. I got me some slippery tea this evening, so I'm going to have me a little cup of hot tea here. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? Ava's out in the studio doing a Zoom call meeting or whatever it is. She should be finishing up out there about 7:30 or so. And I've been out running around all day. I got to take Boom Boom and Gracie to the vet in the morning down in Ellenwood to get their yearly updated shots and so forth. So, God, it's so pretty here in Atlanta today. It's going to be pretty tomorrow, too. Next 5 or 6, 7, 8 days, I think. It's going to just be real pretty. Hello, everybody. Coming to you from my little dining room here in East Point, Georgia. Maybe it's just me, I can already tell there's pollen around. Man, Atlanta gets horrible for pollen as it starts to get springtime. Let me get this tea bag out of here. But anyway, hello, everybody. Good evening. The lighting's horrible in here. It's pretty good on TikTok on this. My little stand's missing. But anyhow, I'm going to sit here and have me a little sip of tea this evening. See what's going on. Hello, TikTok. Y'all come on in. Say hello. How's your mama and them out there in the world of TikTok? TikTokville, how are you out there in this crazy world we're living in? So here's what I thought about today. I was thinking, in all the other administrations and presidents of my lifetime, hello, Jeremy. In my lifetime, there was always the big thing of a new administration coming in. What bills will you get passed? What programs will you get started in the first 90 days of your administration? Because really and truly, historically, if a president's coming into office, they've got about 3 months to really get stuff done. And then all the infighting starts and yada, yada, yada. So here we are in this moment. It's been over a month now that Donald Trump's been elected president. They have not got, hey, Dennis, they have not got any bills passed. There's no budget resolution passed. They're basically just making a scapegoat of all kinds of hundreds of thousands of federal employees. And y'all, whether you're a MAGA supporter or a progressive or whoever, you kind of have to feel like it's very disrespectful to treat employees like they have no value. They're just kind of like trash, and let some billionaire oligarch like Elon Musk just come in there and take and just treat them like they have no value to them, and then just like, I've seen a thing where he's on stage with the chainsaw and, he's going to cut their jobs out from under him. It's very disrespectful, isn't it, Dennis? It's, do y'all not realize that these Americans, civil servants, federal employees, that they're our neighbors. They're the people we go to church with. They're the people that we see at Little League practice. They're Americans just like anybody else. And yet you got a large segment of MAGA who seems to be joyful. Yeah, just fire them all. Just get rid of all of them. It's kind of cruel and heartless. And to think that even billionaires would care about working people. These people are not making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. These people have mortgages and car insurance to make and house payments, and they got to pay for braces for their kids. And, it just seems unseemly the way they're doing it. Hello, TikTok, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia this evening. Eddie William Sellers here in the conclave of my little dining room here in my house in East Point. Going out over the airways this evening around East Point, Georgia, and all the way to the furthest extents of the earth, even in other planets. You know, there's some things about when you do internet stuff and all, there's people like, whatever this is going out over the internet and the airways and however they do it, 1,000 years from now, some future aliens of some sort might just be doing their part of whatever and come across this video from 1,000 years before. Like, who in the world was this old man in East Point, Georgia, talking about a president? What was a president back then? Hey, Miss Rhonda, good evening to y'all. Good evening, Sherry. Good evening. I made it out of the city finally. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Top of the evening to you. What is today? Tuesday? When you're retired, you lose. Today is Tuesday, isn't it? But anyhow, usually, traditionally in administration, you know, they ask the candidate, what is your goals for the first 60 days? Well, Donald Trump ran for office. He didn't lay out any goals. He didn't lay out any plans. All he says is elections are crooked. You know, we're gonna have retribution back to the people that he has all against. Good evening, Bones. Good evening, TikTok. So anyhow, here's my question. Will they get any bill passed in the next month or in the next year? The Republicans have complete control of the Congress, of the Senate, of the Supreme Court. And yeah, people's like, now, Eddie, the Supreme Court is not a political party. The Supreme Court has very much been destroyed. It is a political party. It is a MAGA court. They even went so far as to tell Donald Trump that if he unalives somebody in the White House, unalived him, he can't even be charged for that, you know, because he's beyond being charged for anything he does as president. So the Supreme Court was lost, you know, and I even thought about that. He ran on mass deportation. Yeah. And where is that at? I mean, have they passed have they did any executive orders or have they passed any laws to deal with mass deportation? Yeah, I know they're going around. Donald Trump removed the system that was created to track and monitor cops who abuse their power. Yeah. If y'all think about this, because I've always been somewhat of a political junkie, he's going to make it great, he says. We are going back to the 50s. Isn't that something? I have to come home and hear that psycho Margaret Taylor Greene say that the federal workers don't deserve their paychecks. I cannot stomach her. She is so stupid. You know, I have to be careful reading these because TikTok likes to ban me. They like to throw me off the air. Although I bring a lot of people out on TikTok to, you know, for whatever. Yeah, and the thing about it is most of MAGA's evangelical Christians, they're Christian people. At least they claim to be Christian people. But man, they have such disdain for other Americans. Federal workers, they just act like they're trash. You know, like just fire them we don't care what they do. They just fire them by the hundreds of thousands. Who cares about them? They deserve it. They don't need a job. You know, it's just crazy, y'all. And so my question tonight is, hey, TikTok, y'all. Thank y'all for all the taps and the hearts and the follows and the hellos. And good evening, everybody. Coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia this evening. So my thing is, will there be any legislation? You know, where the laws are written, where bills are passed. You know, you got Mike Johnson, who is just a puppet, you know, and Rhonda says, are they Christian? Love their neighbor? Well, they claim to be Christian. But you know what? Anybody can claim to be a Christian. You know, a Christian's a weird thing to me now. You know, you can have a mass, you know, according to Christianity, you could have a person who's a mass murderer and had done it for 20 years. And on his as they're taking him into the gas chamber or the electric chair, right before he dies, he can just say, "I confess Jesus as my Lord and Savior." Boom, all of it's over. He's going to heaven after doing that. It's weird. It's a weird religion, isn't it? Well. There it is.
I had a Zoom.
I know. I told him he had a Zoom. Ava's done with her Zoom. So anyway, let me get my little doohickey right here.
I want to join you.
Yes, won't you come and join me?
Is the water still hot?
The water should still be hot because my Ava's going to get her a sip of tea, a spot of tea, a spot of tea. Can you believe they fired Joy Reid? Jennifer Spears Will said, yes, in a way I can. And I don't know, Jennifer, if you follow me on Facebook or on TikTok, because a lot of y'all people are just coming through here. I did a video about the firing of Joy Reid on TikTok. Well, I actually do a written post every morning on Facebook. Sherry says she just had her spot of tea. I did a written post this morning on the firing of Joy Reid and on Lester Holt, although they say he resigned or stepped aside. When you're the top rated NBC News anchor for the last 10, you don't just step aside. So anyhow, I did a post about that this morning. Lemon ginger. I'm sipping Slippery M throat coat. I love it. Love it. You don't have to put sugar, honey. It just has a certain sweetness with Slippery M. Herbal tea, y'all. I got nose hairs, y'all. It's showing up on the thing. It looks like something's on my nose, but it's not nothing on my nose. Dr. Groshaw, when you get a certain age, you have nose hairs that just grow, and you just don't trim them every week or so. They'll just look like you're growing a hydrangea bush on the end of your nose. So how'd your Zoom go?
Oh, it went well. We were talking character work for a short film on casting.
I got sheetrock on the back of the truck. We're going to have to get off here in a day or two. So, wax. Oh, God, Sherry, that would hurt. Wax them and jerk them out. I jerk them out anyway. And, but anyhow, I got a little nose hair trimmer. So anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, joining us tonight on the Eddie Williams Sellers 7 o'clock live around the world show is the one and only, the renowned actress, beauty queen, movie star, stage producer, writer, director, producer, the Ava Davis. So
I love you, Dad.
So it's hell living with the movie star, y'all. It's just hell.
Just like it's hell living with a TikTok.
It was kind of funny though, the reversal of Rose, because I went to see Ava over the last several years when they doing shorts and all this stuff. And afterwards, I just hang out in the lobby and she's taking pictures with people and talking, and people's telling her how much they enjoy her work and this and that and the other. And then when I went viral on TikTok with the Harris campaign, then Ava was there and everybody was coming by to kind of talk to me and see me and all.
That's nice.
It was so weird though. It was surreal. I'm like, I didn't want all this, So, Yep. You're not wrong with that, Elmo. Yeah. So anyhow, good evening, everybody. We're sitting here having a spot of tea, talking about. Here's what we're talking about. Usually, traditionally, administrations come in and they always have the first 60-day plan. What are you going to do when your first 60 day? What are you trying to get done to get the administration off the ground and running? And the MAGA, there is no Republican Party, but the MAGA Party, they have control of the Congress, they have control of the Senate, they have control of the presidency. And will they pass any bills? Will they get any legislation off the floor? Or will it just be a bunch of bumfuckery, of executive orders and who's running the country? I heard today that Elon Musk is going to be sitting in on the Capitol meeting. Not the Capitol meeting, the cabinet. The cabinet's going to meet tomorrow, and Elon Musk is going to have a seat at the table with the sitting cabinet that were approved by the Senate and Congress. Yeah, I don't know if there is Republicans too. I don't see any Republicans on TV. to me, Republicans wouldn't be the kind of people that would kiss the ring of Donald Trump. They'd be Republican and independent, and they'd stand up for their constituents, all their constituents. So, anyhow, will they get any legislation passed?
I was just thinking about it today. What benefit does it serve the 47th president to passing legislation? Like, what does he get out of it? So he has no incentive to do anything.
No, because
other than be vindictive and petty and
be vindictive, be petty. Hey, Danny, Anthony's cousin. That might have been you. Yeah, that was you. Maybe I met that was driving that big fancy car. Yeah. DT Johnson said, and I think Anthony's cousin, because a couple weeks ago, Anthony introduced me to him, and I'm like, "Oh, you're Anthony's cousin." He said, "Oh, I know you." I said, "I'm Eddie." He said, "Oh, I know who you are. I follow you online." I'm like, and I told Ava, it's so weird to meet people that follow me online, and it's just a small world out there. Shay says, when I say she is beautiful, she is beautiful. Thank you. I think so. Ava's pretty to me, y'all. I tell her all the time how pretty she is. Yeah, that was you with that big SUV you was driving. He had been in an accident and kind of got banged up and hurt pretty bad. But anyhow, good evening to y'all.
We love you back, MK.
Yeah, good evening, y'all. There's all kind of stuff coming up on both different screens. I'm having me a spot of tea this evening.
Yes. Love is love is love.
Yes.
Fun fact, someone finally introduced the bill to do away with gay marriage. That was fun.
Yeah. That's going to make its way up to the Supreme Court. They're going to try to rescind marriage equality.
Oberfell.
Yeah. And yes. But anyhow, will they get any legislation passed in this go round? And do they even want legislation passed? Y'all, here in Georgia, it's such a dichotomy to live in the city of Atlanta and be in the state of Georgia.
It is.
Because we have two Democratic statewide elected U.S. senators. Senator Warnock, the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is right around the corner from my shop over A1 Blueprint, and a Jewish guy, John Ossoff. But at the same time, once you get outside 285 going north, you got a bunch of crazy white people, crazy, uneducated, hillbilly acting white people.
Actually, anywhere outside of 285, any direction.
Well, probably that's true too. A bunch of white. Yeah, the reason I say I have to watch my words, but I say that because you got Margaret Taylor Greene. If she's not a lesbian, she missed her calling. Because she could fist fight any man on the face of this earth, and that goes to my stereotyping lesbian. My Aunt Carol was a lesbian, my mama's sister. And I swear to God, I have this image of a lesbian woman. Men were afraid of her because she said, well, to bring your ass out here in the street, I'll whoop your ass right here in the middle of Cabbage Town. And people were scared of her. She'd fight you like a man. So she had a lot of testosterone in her. And
Jasmine Crockett said it best. Beach blonde, bad build, butch body.
But I tell you what, Margaret Taylor Greene, she should have been a pulpwood hauler, a wood chopper. She, they used to have big old trucks that carry them big pulpwood. People work on. Anyhow, it's just weird to live in Atlanta, and you got people like Margaret Taylor Greene, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's representing Georgia, and then you got very esteemed people like Jimmy Carter that was here for all those years, and you got the great U.S. Ambassador Andy Young, who's still alive. And you had Maynard Holbrook Jackson, the first black, he was a vice mayor, and then he became mayor of the city of Atlanta. Atlanta's always been such a progressive city. And then you got white people that put people like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Jimmy wasn't raised in Forsyth County, and it does show.
Yeah.
He was raised proper.
Margaret Taylor Greene is all bark, no bite. You know what? I know this seems bad, Sherry, and this shows my, all of us, if we say enough and talk enough, we'll show our ignorance. And I do have little pockets of ignorance that kind of gets back in the back of my head, and sometimes my ignorance comes out. But with Margaret Taylor Greene, I've seen her sometimes on the steps of the Capitol, yam, 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 run their mouth. And I just wish one of them black women that was Congress lady would just go out there and beat the shit out of her. Just grab her by the hair of the head and just go running down the steps of the Capitol with her. And we tell our kids, like, no, don't you do that. Don't you do that. You'll get in trouble.
Let someone who looks like her do all that, because we done.
We
ain't going to jail for that.
I'd like to see a black woman just beat the shit out of her.
It would satisfy me on such a spiritual level.
Sherry over on Facebook says she'll volunteer to go do it. I'll come and get you out of jail, hun. Well, I have to be careful. They'll ban all my social media if I get on here promoting violence, they say. But yeah, it's just creepy, isn't she? She's creepy. Just creepy. But anyhow, y'all, will they get any legislation passed? No. And most of the damage that Donald Trump is going to do, and I know he's got the next 4 years.
5 on it.
Most of the damage is already done. The people's belief in a free press has already been destroyed. Everybody now, MAGA, you can't get nobody in MAGA to think there's any free press out there, or everything you say. So-and-so, that's fake news. That's fake news. Boy, they love that fake news. And the whole time, all of them's watching Fox News, which is the epitome, the epicenter of fake news.
Court. It's not actual news.
No, they had to pay $758 million admitting they lied about all kinds of stuff during the election. So anyway, y'all, Eddie and Ava coming to you, having hot, slippery MT this evening from East Point, Georgia, doing a little live, speaking to a handful of people around here, but speaking to hordes of people across the country and around the world. Isn't that amazing?
Hey, on the cusp, love you too.
So anyhow, who knows? A month has already went by. Well, here's what we were talking about earlier too, Ava. I am sick of CNN, MSNBC forcing you to pay to read articles online. I've noticed that too, Rhonda. I'm not doing all that. Sherry says I grew up in Bartow County, so just imagine what I've seen and heard. Sherry. I hate that place. Yeah, that's kind of creepy deal to me up there. CWPs is what the word for is. CWPs. Crazy white people. That's what you get when you get up there in Bartow County. And even I went 5 years ago, McKaysville, Georgia, and rented a little cabin. And the little cabins across the street had little Trump flags hanging up there. It was creepy, y'all. Just creepy. Trailer trash. Oh my God, I need to stop. I'm just repeating what everybody else says. Good evening, Theo. I don't know how to say that.
Sick girl.
Yeah. So, but most presidents really, after about 30 days, 60 days, you remember when Obama was president, immediately, like a month later, 60 days later, they had work. They ushered in Obamacare. That became his legacy. Even today, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. But they did it real quick within the first 60 days of his administration. Donald Trump, are they going to pass any legislation? Or are they just going to destroy the country and implode the economy and just let everything go to hell in a shit basket?
I think that's what the plan is, because the next thing that's supposed to come up, and they're saying it's going to be a government shutdown, is the budget in March. Yeah. And they're saying nothing's going to get done. And that's what I'm thinking. He has no incentive to do anything except cause chaos and get himself in the news.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me see, y'all. Let me get over here. I might not be online. Somebody keeps losing signal. I forget to do that when we go on our walks. I take it off so I can do my video. Hey, y'all, that should correct for people been losing signal on Facebook. We go on our walk, and when I get away from the house, we do our little video. I take it off internet because it slows it down.
Wi-Fi.
Search Wi-Fi, and so then I cut back. I forget to turn the internet back on. So we're back on now. So hopefully the pausing and delay, which I'm not going to be on here but another 5 or 10, 15 minutes, and we're gonna find something else to do, hon. Unless some of y'all start putting me some money in my bank account. Y'all do know I'm just kidding when I say that. Although I got a little bit heady and high-minded during the campaign when I look up, I'm like, we was walking around New York City, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just like God's dropping money out of the heavens. I told Dave, I'm like, look at there. TikTok just deposited $3,000 in my checking account. Well, look at God here in New York City just dropping money into my phone just as we walking around. So, but it was fun, y'all. Sherry says, I wish they would pass the law that it's illegal for a grown man like 47 have miniature hands like he does. Hey, have y'all ever seen that? I told David the other day, we need to buy us a little pair of them little bitty tiny hands, because there's a skit that Kristen Wiig does on Saturday Night Live where
The Something Sisters.
Will Ferrell is playing like he's Lawrence Welk. He's in and the one and the two, and the people start singing, and Kristen Wiig comes out with little bitty hands and starts rubbing him on his face. It is hilarious. We need to get some little hands, some little hands to talk about Donald Trump.
Oh my goodness.
Well, if we just being, Donald Trump said it on stage when he was in the Republican debate. He said, my penis ain't that small. You can joke all you want to. Can you believe a presidential candidate, the head of the Republican Party, on a debate stage is talking about his penis wasn't that small? Now, let me tell you something. For you people that have been raised up around men, if men ever get to talking about their penis ain't small, you can guarantee one thing: they have a small penis. Because men that are not concerned about how big their penis is, you won't get them to engage in a conversation like that. They're like, no, we're not talking about that. So it's many, and it's, yeah. Let's move on. Let's move, changing subject, because they might be Pentecostal people watching here this evening somewhere in Alabama and Louisiana. And if you around Pentecostal people, this is proven fact. It says it right in the book of Revelation. If you say penis back to back 3 times, they will have a heart attack. It will terrify them. They're like, oh my God, penis. I am just going to be with Granian then. It'll unnerve them. Yeah, and don't even get him started on Arnold Palmer's. And then Donald Trump's talking about Arnold Palmer's like, oh boy, they say when Arnold Palmer would go in the bathroom to pee, other men would step back, said he just pull out a big old penis.
That's weird.
And talking
that
about
is so.
And
weird.
then the very next night we was out eating somewhere, and Ava says, "I'll bring in Arnold Palmer." I'm like, what? She's, well, I just wanted Arnold Palmer.
I didn't know all of that was going on.
Oh my God. It is weird, Sherry. So anyway, y'all, good evening, Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, East Point, Georgia, downtown Atlanta. We're talking about, will Donald Trump get any bills passed out of this Congress? Will there be any legislation get passed? Or are they just going to make the federal employees, the civil servants that actually make the government function, are they just going to use them as scapegoats and just continue to let thousands of them go? Forest workers, people that run our national parks. They just make them like they're just a bunch of trash. Just go in there and just fire hundreds of thousands of them. Who cares about them?
You reach the point to where you break it beyond repair, because there's so much institutional knowledge that you can't just pick up on the job, like how things work.
Yeah, here, there is y'all, it's amazing. Y'all know I'm a documentary kind of freak. I love documentaries. Well, I finished one a couple of days ago. It's an 8-part series called Turning Point on Netflix. And it starts with Hitler and the war, and it ends with us going to war, with Russia going to war in Ukraine. And it takes you through about 8 or 9 hours turning point. It's amazing. And the thing about that thing is it's very insightful. I feel like, and it goes into how Putin came into power and the oligarchs that put him in power, and how the oligarchs were now in control of Russia, and Putin became one of the richest men in the world, worth billions and billions of dollars, more than Elon Musk now. And but it gives you an insight with the oligarchs when they take control of a country. And right now, this country is being run by oligarchs, billionaire oligarchs. And do you really think they care about you that's working at General Dollar up here in Bowman, Georgia?
They do not give it
That you so love Donald Trump so much, and you making your little $9 an hour and barely getting by in your little trailer somewhere on the highway, Bowman Highway. You really think these oligarchs got your best? They care about what your car insurance and your Medicare.
The big problem in this country is that because of Puritanism, we've associated wealth with godliness, and it could not be further from the truth. I'm going to be restarting my show, Allie, so I should be posting more in a few months.
Yeah, Allie says, please ask David to upload more regularly on her YouTube channel. Yeah, he does love the uneducated. So anyhow, y'all, here we are. And somebody's giving Ava a little hat over here on TikTok. So here we are in almost the 1st of March of 2025, spring in Atlanta. Life goes on. We're waiting to see what's going to happen. The thing about it is, it only takes a couple of seats. There's only a couple of seat margin, and the Democrats could be back in control of the House. It ain't really going to make a whole lot of difference because the Republicans, Mike Johnson, they're so dysfunctional as in control with their 1 or 2 seat margin. They ain't going to get nothing done anyway. Hey, Molly, love you too. Thank you, Velo, for the rose. So it's going to be weird, though. And I think we just keep talking about it. We keep figuring out how we're going to mobilize, how we're going to be focused. One thing that we're not going to do, when I say we, and I include you in this, and I include you over there in this, one thing we're not going to do is be silent.
No.
We're not going to shut up. We're not going to dribble. We're not going to go play basketball. We're going to give them, hey, I had somebody text me the other day saying something to me about, and I told him, I said,
good night, Rhonda.
Good night, y'all. We're about to hang up. I told him, I said, I forget what I can't word it right, but anyhow, but Harry Truman said that he said something about he just tells the truth and they think it's hell. And one thing we're not going to do is be quiet. We're not going to tone it down. We're going to call it as it is. We're being controlled now by white Christian nationalists who has instituted a coup upon this country. And they're going to try to force Jesus down the throat of anybody that will follow after Jesus. But it's that old weird, sicko, creepy Jesus they follow. It's that kind of Jesus. People's like, no.
I think they got a word for it, Antichrist.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, the years and years that I read the Bible and studied the Bible, I've never in my lifetime, I love history. I love documentaries. I love different times. I've never seen anything in our history of mankind that kind of epitomized what the Antichrist would look like as much as MAGA looks like it. That is the epitome of everything the early day Christians spoke of when they said, be not deceived. In the last days, men would rise up and they'd say that Jesus is the Lord and all like I said, but they're evil people. This is where we're at today with Trump and MAGA. So anyhow, we love y'all.
We are a couple.
Yeah, we are. We've been together for 15 years. I figure if we can stay together 5 more years and reach the 20-year mark, then we'll decide if we're going to make a go of it. But until then, the jury's out. You just never know. So anyhow, love y'all. The characteristics are there. We're going to hang up and go find something. Yeah, let's go do it. See y'all.
Night. Good night.
Good night.